Welcome. In this playthrough, Marvel champions the card game. Captain Marvel and Miss Marvel will team up against the Wrecking Crew. So for our heroes, we have Captain Marvel with her base 15 cards. She's going with aggression. So 2 power of aggressions, the Hulk, 2 combat trainings, 3 enraged, 3 uppercuts, and 3 attack teams. And then basics, we've got our 3 resource cards, 3 haymakers, 2 downtimes, a helicarrier, Mockingbird, and honorary Avenger. Then for Miss Marvel, her basic 15 cards, going with justice for her. So we've got 2 power of justice, 3 for justice, 3 surveillance teams, 2 heroic intuitions, Jessica Jones, Daredevil, and Interrogation Room. And for the resources, the 3 of those, Nick Fury, Avengers Mansion, Mockingbird, helicarrier, 2 endurance, 2 first aids, and a haymaker. So we're all set up here with our villains, side scheme, and a counter deck for each. Our main scheme, we're using the A team for the Wrecking Crew. We've got our side schemes in play. 6 threat per player, so 12 on here and we'll lose. It's a forced response. After step 1 of the villain phase, place 1 threat on each side scheme. Move the active counter to the villain whose scheme has the most threat. And if there's a tie, the first player chooses. And we'll get 1 threat on this each round. So for Bulldozer, he's got 1 scheme, 3 attack. They all have a similar ability that when they scheme, we place a threat on their side scheme instead of the main scheme. He also has, when he attacks, he gains overkill. He has 12 hit points per player. So starting with 24, clear the road side scheme. They all have the similar text here that this card cannot leave play while the corresponding villain is still in play. And he's got charge. After threat is placed here, if there's 10 or more threat here, each player must discard the top 10 cards of their deck, remove all but 3 threats from this scheme, and it does start with 4 in play. Then Pile Driver, 2 scheme, 2 attack, retaliate 1, 11 hit points per player, so he starts with 22. Pile it on, so if there's 10 or more threat here, each player must discard the upgrade or support they control with the highest threat, then remove all but 3 threats, and this starts with 3. For Thunderball, he has 3 scheme, 1 attack, and after he attacks you, he deals 1 damage to each character you control. He has 13 hit points per player, so 26. And Thunderstruck, Gamma Blast, if there's 10 or more threat here, we stun each friendly character. Then remove all but 3 threat, and it starts with 5. And lastly, Wrecker, 2 scheme, 2 attack. When he's attacking, he gets +2 attack. If the attack is undefended, he starts with 14 hit points per player, so up to 28. And for Day of Reckoning, if there's 10 or more threat here, we'll deal 2 damage to each friendly character. Then we'll remove all but 3 of that. And he starts with 6, which makes him the active villain. I'm using this token for that. And dice for health on our heroes. So 12 health, 10 health, hand size of 6 for both an alter ego, and 5 in their hero form. So go ahead and shuffle their encounter decks one last time. So that was for Bulldozer, Pile Driver, Thunderball, and Wrecker. Then our hero decks. And for Captain Marvel, so we'll go ahead and start 6 cards. Getting Photonic Blast, Strength, Uppercut, another Blast, Cosmic Flight, and Combat Training. So I'll go ahead and keep these 2 and mulligan those 4. Getting Attack Team, Crisis Interdiction, our Helmet, and Power of Aggression. And for Miss Marvel, we've got Endurance, Interrogation Room, Avengers Mansion, Polymer Suit, Haymaker, and Nakia. And I will discard these 3. Drawing into Embiggen, Jessica Jones, and Mockingbird. So starting off, she's going to use her ability on herself to draw a card, getting Cosmic Flight. Then we are going to put Combat Training in play with Power of Aggression. This will give us +1 attack. Then we'll throw in another upgrade with these 2 resources, giving us +1 defense, +2 if we have the aerial trait. And then we'll give ourselves Cosmic Flight, which gives us the aerial trait. And as a hero interrupt during defense, when we would take damage, we can discard this to prevent 3 of that damage, using Strength to pay for that. Then we will flip over and go ahead and put our first attack on the Wrecker, taking him down to 25. Then we'll use Kamala's ability. Discard cards from the top of your deck until you discard a Miss Marvel card. Then add that to your hand. So we get Sneak By. We'll go ahead and use Sneak By as a resource. Put in Nakia. It's an alter ego action. We can exhaust her to reduce the cost of the next card you play this phase by 1. And we'll go ahead and use that to make Avengers Mansion a little cheaper. And with this, we can exhaust it to choose a player and have them draw a card. We'll go ahead and pick us right now, getting the Power of Justice. And we'll discard that to play Endurance. Play under any player's control to give them +3 hit points. We're going to give that to Captain Marvel. Then she will turn hero form and attack for 1. So Riker's down to 24. So we'll get 5 cards here. Getting Haymaker, Energy Channel, Honorary Avenger, Arranged, and Downtime. And 5 cards here. Big Hand, Surveillance Team, Energy, First Aid, and Genius. Our first villain phase, 1 threat on our main scheme. Then that will throw 1 threat on each the other side scheme. So we have 7 on the Wrecker, which will make him the active villain. And he's going to attack on Captain Marvel. She will go ahead and defend. So it's just going to be base 2 attack. And move the active counter to the villain whose side scheme has the least threat. So that's going to be Pile Driver. So his attack did 2 damage, but she has 3 defense, so she'll take nothing. And now Pile Driver will be attacking Miss Marvel, and she's not going to do anything special. So 1, 2, 3, 4 damage. Taking her down to 6. Then we'll deal out some encounter cards. So Oversized Hands. So when revealed, discard the support you control with the highest cost. If no support was discarded this way, place 2 threat on the active villain scheme. So we have 3 upgrades, actually 4 upgrades, no support cards. So he'll just get 2 more threat, up to 6. Then for Miss Marvel, she's going to get wrecked. She's in hero form, so the villain whose side scheme has the least threat attacks you. So that's going to be Bulldozer. And she's only got 6 health. She'll go ahead and defend. So 3 attack, 5 damage coming her way. She blocks 1. So taking 4, down to 2. New kid's not feeling too good. But now she is first player. Well, she's going to come out swinging, using her big hands, using energy as resources to deal 4 damage to an enemy. We'll continue on the record, taking him down to 20. Then we'll bring out Surveillance Team with Genius. So it gets 3 Snoop counters. We can exhaust this to remove a Snoop counter and then remove 1 threat from a scheme. I'll go ahead and do that. We'll take 1 off a pile driver, take him from 6 down to 5. Then she's going to flip over. Use Nakia to make her next card cost 1 less. She'll play First Aid to heal 2 damage from herself. So up to 4. Then she'll use Avengers Mansion to have Captain Marvel draw a card into an Enraged. So we're going to put in Energy Channel for free. It's an action we can spend X amount of energy resources to put that many energy counters here. Then as a hero action attack, discard Energy Channel to deal 2 damage to an enemy for each energy counter here to a maximum of 10. Then we're going to give herself another upgrade. It gives our alter ego +2 recovery, spinning an Enraged. Then since we have the Avenger trait, we're going to play Honorary Avenger on Miss Marvel. So play only if we have the Avenger trait attached to a friendly character. They get +1 hit point and gain the Avenger trait. So we'll help her health out here, taking her up to 5. Then discard an energy resource to put 1 counter over here and end her turn. So we'll get 6 cards. Getting Heroic Intuition, First Aid for Justice, Surveillance Team, Endurance, and Nick Fury. Then I'm going to pitch Enraged and draw 5 cards. Getting Tac Team, Haymaker, Genius, Combat Training, and Enraged. Villain Phase. Threat on the main scheme, 1 on all the others. So 6, 6, 7, and 8, making him the guy in charge. So he's going to scheme for 2. See, gets +3 attack for this. So that doesn't do anything. But the 2 is going to take him to his limit. So we're going to deal 2 damage to each friendly character. And then reduce his scheme down to 3. So she'll go down to 13, and she'll go down to 3. Then he's going to attack over here. She's going to defend. So base 2 attack. He gets +3 attack unless we place 2 threats. So we'll add 2 threat over there. So he's up to 5. And with 2 attacks, she will take no damage. Then deal out some side schemes or some encounters. So she gets a Corrupt Prison Guard. And then over here, Dead Meat. Deal 1 damage to the hero or ally with the fewest remaining hit points. That character is defeated this way, place 3 threat on Wrecker's side scheme. So we only have heroes. She's going to take another damage down to 2. Poor girl's getting picked on. And we'll pass first player marker. We have Captain Marvel do a Haymaker using these resources. Deal 3 damage to the prison guard. We'll have Kamala help her out to draw a card, getting energy absorption. Then we're going to drop 4 energy resources on our energy channel, which gets us up to 5. Then we'll go ahead and discard this to do 10 damage. Over on the Wrecker, taking him down to 10. That's all she's going to do. Kamala's got to recover, so that gets her up to 7. She'll use her ability, getting a mirror. Then we'll use Nakia to make her next card cost one less, which will bring him into play. Then we'll use him to exhaust, to place a card from her discard pile on the bottom of her deck, then draw a card. Let's see. I think we're going to put some energy on the bottom and draw into the Power of Justice. Then we'll go ahead and flip over to hero form. Spin this to take a token off Bulldozer's scheme. I'm going to bring in Nick Fury with these 4 resources. So after he enters play, we can remove 2 threat from a scheme, draw 3 cards, or deal 4 damage to an enemy. At the end of the round, if he's still in play, we'll discard him. So we're going to have him deal 4 damage to the record, taking him down to 6. Then have him hitting for 2. And take 1 damage. Then we'll use for justice. So hero action. Thwart, remove 3 threat from a scheme. 4 if we're paying using mental resource. We've got 2 wilds to pay for that. So we can take 4 threat off a pile driver. That will end our round. I'll go ahead and discard these 2 cards and just draw 5. Getting Tack Team, Uppercut, Uppercut, Crisis Interdiction, and Energy. And then 5 cards over here. Getting Sneak By, Bruno, Big Hands, Helicarrier, and Wiggle Room. And ready your cards. So villain phase, up to 3. 6 over here, 3, 8, and 6, making Thunderball our active guy. He's going to swing into Captain Marvel. She's not going to do anything, so 1, 4 damage coming her way. Taking her down to 7. I'm sorry, 9. And with his text, after he attacks, deal 1 damage to each character you control. So down to 8. Then he'll tackle Miss Marvel. Nick's going to jump in the way. So 1, 2 damage, which will be enough to take him out. And then she'll take a damage due to his ability. Then we'll get some encounter cards. So Tactical Prowess. Move all threat from the side scheme with the least threat to the side scheme with the most threat. So we've got 8 over here. So we're going to move these 3 over to this one. That scheme's forced response is not triggered. This card gains surge, but it does trigger. So he's going down to 3. And that stuns each friendly character. Then we get Chaos and Prison. When revealed, choose to either discard an upgrade you control or place 1 threat on the active villain side scheme for each upgrade you control. If you do not control any upgrades, this card gains Surge. Well, we have 1 upgrade, so we'll go ahead and get rid of this, which means we lose a hit point. And this goes over to Captain Marvel's discard pile. And Miss Marvel becomes player 1. And she will start off with swinging to get rid of stunned. Then Big Hands. Deal 2 damage to an enemy with these 2 resources. And that will take out the Wrecker. So we'll just flip him over and get his stuff out of the way. Move our main scheme back there. Go ahead and use this to get 1 off of the main scheme, and that will get rid of that card. We will go ahead and flip her over. Use his ability. Put big hands on the bottom of the deck and draw a card. Getting strength. Then we'll use her to make our next card a little bit cheaper to bring in Helicarrier with these 2 resources. We can exhaust that to choose a player and reduce the resource cost of the next card they play by 1. Then we're going to use Avengers Mansion to have Captain Marvel draw a card, and then let the next card she plays be 1 cheaper. Then she will start by attacking, we'll just say the Bulldozer, to get rid of the stunned card. Use her ability, discard an energy resource to heal 1 and draw a card, getting Crisis back. Then since her first card is 1 cheaper, we're going to bring in Mockingbird for 2. And after she enters play, we get to stun an enemy. We're going to make that Bulldozer. Then have her go ahead and attack Bulldozer. Take him down to 23. Then we're going to uppercut him using these 3 resources to deal 5 damage to him. So down to 18. Then we're going to flip over. Ending her turn, we'll get 5 more cards over here. Getting for Justice, Intuition, Red Dagger, Shrink, and Daredevil. And we have Wiggle Room in hand. Then 6 cards. Getting Alpha Flight Station, Energy Channel, Power of Aggression, Photonic Blast, Spider-Woman, and a Haymaker. Put a threat on our main scheme. Go from 6 to 7 over here. One there. And then he'll go up to 4. Which makes Bulldozer our active villain. So he's going to scheme on Kamala. So base 1, 4, which will take him past 10. So we end up knocking him down to 3. And each player discards 10 cards from their deck. So we got 4 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 there. So both of them have been decked. So they will get encounter cards and shuffle. Now scheming on Carol. So 1, 2, another 3. He's up to 6. Then he'll deal out some more encounter cards. First, attached to him, he's going to get +2 attack. When he attacks you, you must defend with an ally if able. And after he attacks you, discard this card. And then an escaped convict who comes in with Surge, 1 scheme, 1 attack, and 2 health. And then he's holding a hostage attached to the active villain side scheme. Threat cannot be removed from attached scheme by thwarting. If we take a hero action, we can have the corresponding villain attack us and then discard this card. Then Carol gets wrecked. Alter ego form, the villain whose side scheme has the most threat schemes, which will be him. So base 1, 2, taking him up to 8. And then a Bull Rush. Alter ego form, He schemes. Discard the top card of your deck for each threat placed by this activation. So base 1. All right, if this attack is undefeated, so just 1. It's the best we could hope for. It takes it to 9, and we discard a card. Let me double check. Yep. And first player token moves. Health is important, so she is going to recover. I'm going to put out an energy channel. Use her ability for her to draw a card, getting Crisis Interdiction. Then we will flip over. Discard that so we can heal 1. And draw a card, getting another Crisis. Then we're going to play Photonic Blast to deal 5 damage to an enemy, and we've got some wild, so we're going to say we spent an energy resource to draw a card. So 5 damage, we'll take him down to 13. And draw a card, getting an uppercut. Then we'll have Kamala let her draw a card, getting a Photonic Blast. Doing the same thing to deal 5 damage and draw a card. Down to 8. Getting combat training. And we'll go ahead and have Mockingbird take him down to 7. Go over to Kamala, use her ability. Getting Sneak By. We'll use a mirror to put Nick on the bottom of our deck and draw a card. Then we'll use Helicarrier and Nakia to make the next card she plays 2 cheaper. To bring in Red Dagger for 1, using Shrink. Then we'll have her recover. And flip over. Red Dagger will swing for 2. Taking him down to 5. Then we're going to bring in Daredevil for 4 cards. Going to have him swing for 2. Taking him down to 3. And that's all we've got. So for her, we're going to discard a card, draw 5. Getting Energy Absorption, the Hulk, Strength, Helicarrier, and Enraged. And we have 1 card in hand, so she'll draw 4 more. Getting Strength, Surveillance Team, Bruno, and Sneak By. So for the villain, 4th threat on the main one. 10, 2, and 5. We'll finish this one out. He'll remain the active villain. Then we will trigger his ability. We'll go down to 3, and we all discard 10 cards. Then he's going to attack Captain Marvel, but he's stunned. Then he'll attack over here. We have to defend Finale if able, so we'll put Red Dagger in the way. So he's got 5 attack. So just 5 attack coming her way. He will block up 2. 3 will come over to her. She'll play Wiggle Room. So when you would take any amount of damage, prevent 3 of that damage and draw a card. Also with him, When he is defeated, spend 2 resources of different types, deal 2 damage to an enemy, and return him to our hand. So we are going to pay 2 different resources to return him to our hand and deal 2 damage back to Bulldozer, taking him down to 1. And after he attacks, discard this card. Then our escaped convict's going to attack. Miss Marvel will just take it down to 9. Then we'll deal out some encounter cards. So first we have Leading the Charge. When revealed, discard the top X cards of your deck where X is his attack. Place 1 threat on his side scheme for each different card type discarded this way. So his attack is 3. We've got 2 upgrades and a support. So 2 threat goes up to 5. Then over here we have a Headbutt. Discard 1 card at random from your hand. If you are in hero form, take damage equal to that card's printed cost. If you're in alter ego form, place threat on his scheme. So we're on hero form. I'll go ahead and randomize our cards. Cost of 1. So down to 8. And then pass our turn marker. She is just going to swing for 1 to take out Bulldozer. So all this will go away. Thunderball becomes our active guy. We'll go ahead and have her flip over. Use a mirror to put a card in her discard pile on the bottom of her deck and draw a card. We're going to go Big Hands. And we'll get For Justice. We'll use Nakia to make the next card we play 1 cheaper. So bring in Red Dagger for 2. And have him swing to take out the escaped convict. We're going to have Daredevil thwart. So he'll take a damage for that. We'll take 2 off of Thunderball. And he's got an ability that after he thwarts, deal 1 damage to an enemy. So not an attack. We'll go ahead and do that on Pile Driver. Then we'll have Captain Marvel draw a card into the Power of Aggression and make the first card she plays 1 cheaper. So she's going to start with a Helicarrier, putting it in 1 cheaper, and then go ahead and use it to make the next card I put in cheaper. So I'll hold off on that because we're going to bring in the Hulk first, paying fully for him with the Power of Aggression. Now make the next card we bring in 1 cheaper to give him an upgrade. He'll get +2 attack and takes +1 consequential damage after he attacks. And we'll go ahead, well, before he does that, that might kill Mockingbird off. So because of that potential, we'll go ahead and have her swing into Pile Driver for 1. She'll get retaliated on and take herself out of the game. So now Hulk will attack Thunderball for 5 damage, taking him down to 21. Then we'll see what his ability does. Getting a lightning bolt, so he's doing 1 damage to everybody. That is deal 1 damage to each character. So he'll go down to 19. He'll go down to 20. Hulk takes the damage. Captain Marvel takes the damage. Kamala takes the damage. Daredevil leaves play. And Red Dagger takes the damage. Then we're going to put 3 counters on Energy Channel. And Captain Marvel is going to swing for 3 on Thunderball, taking him down to 17. And that will end our actions. So over here we have 2 cards in hand. I'm going to discard 1 and draw 5 more. Getting our suit, big hands for justice, power of justice, and wiggle room. Then we'll get 5 cards here. So first 3, which will get us an encounter card for decking. And 2 more. So Energy, Tac Team, Genius, Enraged, and Photonic Blast. So we get a total of 5 on our main scheme, 3 on Power Driver, 4 on Thunderball. He remains the active villain. So he's going to scheme on Kamala for a base of 3. Move the active counter to the villain whose side scheme has the least threat. So he was scheming for 3. Which now means Pile Driver is going to attack into Captain Marvel. And she'll just take it. So 2, 3, 4 damage. Down to 9. And we'll deal out some encounter cards. So Corrupt Prison Guard over on Kamala. And then we have an escape plan here. When revealed, you are confused. If you're already confused, he schemes. So she gets confused. And then I've been waiting for this. When revealed, the active villain heals 3 hit points. Then give that villain the tough status. Well, that's disappointing. So that takes him back up to his 22. And now he's tough. And we'll move first player. And she will start off taking out this guard. Then Hulk's going to swing for 5. Actually, he should have 2 more counters on him. 1 for his ability, 1 for his normal attack, and 1 for the enraged. So he's now down to 12. Then we'll see what else he calls. 1 more damage to everybody. Take the tough off of him. Down to 11. Next run on him, 1 for attacking, and then 1 for his ability, which takes him out. She'll go down to 8. She'll go down to 6. Red Dagger, we'll just let him go. So that takes care of that. We will drop 2 energy counters over here, then spend 5 to deal 10 damage to an enemy, taking him down to 1. We'll make the next card we play a little cheaper. So we'll bring in Tac Team for 2 resources. It's going to get 3 counters. We can exhaust this to remove a counter to do 2 damage to an enemy. So we'll go ahead and do that. To take out Thunderball. And then there was one. Then we'll have Kamala, let her draw a card, getting attack team. She'll discard that to heal and draw a card, getting Spider-Woman. Then we'll use this to make the next card she plays one cheaper, to put in Photonic Blast, using the wild so we can draw a card and deal 5 damage. So down to 17. We draw a card, getting Alpha Flight Station, but we take a damage for retaliation. Then I think we'll go ahead and flip over and use her ability to let Kamala draw a card, getting First Aid. She's going to recover for 5, but her hit points does max out at 10. We use her ability to get Big Hands. We'll use his ability to put a card on the bottom of the deck and then draw a card, getting Big Hands. We'll use her ability to make the next card we play reduced by 1, to bring out a Polymer Suit. We can exhaust this to generate a wild resource for an event as a hero resource. Then we're going to flip on over. We'll play Big Hands, using this for 1 resource, for Justice for the other, so we can do 4 damage to an enemy. Taking him down to 13. He'll retaliate for 1. We will play Big Hands again with these 2 resources. Taking him down to 9. And take 1 damage. And then Big Hands again. Down to 5. And retaliate down to 7. That will end her turn. So we have 1 card. We'll draw up to 5 here. For 5 more cards. So we've got Alpha Flight Station, Photonic Blast, Downtime, Haymaker, Crisis, and Energy Absorption. And then she'll draw 2 cards, get an encounter card, and shuffle. Getting 3 more cards. So we've got Bruno, Red Dagger, Wiggle Room, Nick Fury, and Energy. So we get our 6th threat on the main scheme, 4 on Pile Driver. He's going to scheme on Carol Danvers for 1, 2, 3, 4. So up to 8. Then attacking Miss Marvel. She will go ahead and defend. So 1, 2, discard a support you control. So she'll end up taking 1 damage. Losing a support. We'll get rid of Nakia. Hand out some encounter cards. So first on Carol. I've been waiting for this. When revealed, the active villain gains 3 hit points. Give that villain a tough status card. So up to 8. And he's tough. Then Miss Marvel. Choose the villain whose side scheme has the least threat. Reveal the top card of his deck. Top 2 cards if he's the only villain in play. So we're getting 2 schemes here. So Escaped Convict, which gets Surge. Held Hostage. So he attaches to the side scheme. Threat cannot be removed. And as a hero action, we can have him attack us to discard this card. And attach to him to give him +3 hit points. So up to 11. He's trying one last stand. And then an escape plan. You are confused. If you're already confused, he schemes. So everyone's confused. And then she'll become first player. And I think I forgot his attack, so down to 5. Actually, no, he just came out. Never mind. So since we're exhausted and confused, we're just going to flip over, use our ability, getting a sneak by. Mirror's going to let us put a card on the bottom of our deck and draw a card, getting Surveillance Team. Play this to make the next card we play one cheaper. So Nick Fury, resources. It's going to come into play and do 4 damage to somebody. Actually, take that back. We'll bring in the red dagger first. So 2 plus that. And have him attack over here to get rid of tough. I'll take 1 for attacking, 1 for retaliate. Now we'll bring in Nick Fury with 4 resources to deal 4 damage. Down to 7. Then attack for 2. Down to 5. 2 damage on him. We'll use this to have Carol draw a card, getting Power of Aggression. Use her ability to draw a card, getting Crisis Interdiction. Use that to put in Alpha Flight Station, so we can exhaust this to choose and discard a card from her hand, draw a card, or draw 2 cards if we're Carol Danvers. So we're going to discard a card to draw 2. Then we will go ahead and flip over and do a Photonic Blast to deal 5 damage. That will take out Pile Driver, and that will finish off the Wrecking Crew. Hope you enjoyed this playthrough, so please click on the like button below and be sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching.